Welcome back to CTV Morning Live. I think that takes superhuman ability to do a quick change like that. Great to have Dr. Paul joining us once again, and great timing right now as we were talking about seasonal allergies.
Sure. You know, the term hay fever is, a lot of people are familiar with that term, and it's a misnomer. There's no fever, but it's caused by, I guess you can exaggerate it, hay, grass, pollens. And what basically seasonal allergies are allergic reactions that humans have to pollens, essentially. And there are three types of pollens, and therefore there are basically three pollen seasons that start in May, June, which are the tree pollens. Typically, you'll start feeling your symptoms, which are runny nose, stuffy nose, itchy eyes, a cold that doesn't go away, or a cold that keeps coming back same time of year. Those are kind of the symptoms. And so tree pollens, May, June. Then you've got grass pollens, which are worse when you cut the grass and you get that smell. And then you get the fall kind of ragweed season, which again can last from middle of August to the frost. So if you've got allergies to all three of them, you've got symptoms virtually half the year. And people don't realize that very often they say, well, there's no pollen in the air, I'll be better. Well, pollen is invisible. It's not the green stuff or the white stuff that you see, it's invisible. But we know that when you have a heavy winter and you get a late sort of bloom, you can get a sort of all trees will at once bloom, and you get a higher load of pollen. The best way to kind of look at things is, number one, there's the Weather Channel and all these other websites. You can get the pollen counts. And for example, today the pollen is low because when it rains, the pollen doesn't get airborne. So that's a good thing. The other thing that people don't know, and again, talking about sort of how to avoid it, right? And even kids can get it too, by the way.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
For a parent, especially if they have a young child who has yet to be able to kind of communicate what's going on? How do you differentiate between what's a cold and what might be allergies?
That's a good point. A cold usually is self-limiting. It'll last maybe a week or so and go away. Might have a bit of fever. An allergy usually has a symptom that will persist beyond a week or two and will recur, will keep coming back. Usually the same time of year. Will
you recognize it either with constant sniffling or with watery eyes?
It depends.
It'll be the same?
You could be both. It could be both. It could be nasal symptoms, which are either a constant runny nose, sneezing, those type of things, or a constant blocked nose. Those are the two signs of an allergic reaction. You can get those symptoms year-round if you have dust allergies and so on. But if you have them on a seasonal basis, let's say you go by history and say, you know what, come to think of it, every May he gets this. Every June he gets this.
Can it be tested? Can you test for it?
You can test for it. There are skin tests that you can test for allergies. Unfortunately, they're not quite reliable in kids less than 5 years of age. And so we have to kind of guess. We try to test them if we can, and if it's negative, we tell parents, well, the pattern fits, especially if there's a family history, because that's another thing as well. If both parents have allergies, any type of allergy, be it asthma, hay fever, those type of things, the chances are that the child inherited are 75%. If one parent has it, it's a 40% chance. If
the child is more prone to allergies, if they're allergic to a variety of things, are they more likely to be allergic to this,
yes,
or
they
it can afflict anyone?
Yes, they are. 10% of people are born with that allergy gene, let's say. So within that population, if you're born with that gene, you have a higher tendency to have asthma, allergies, food allergies, eczema. Those go together. Those are called atopic diseases, which are sort of the allergy spectrum of diseases. So there are hereditary, and so how you treat them basically depends on the symptoms. I also want to say that children and adults who have asthma may have symptoms of their asthma being worsened by the pollens as well. So that's another thing to look for. So if you're going to treat yourself or your child, make sure that you understand what the diagnosis is. In terms of non-medicine things you can do, keep the windows closed in the morning, because we have the tendency to open the windows and the pollen is the highest in the morning. An air conditioner works because you want to keep the doors closed. And over-the-counter medications like antihistamines are fine. And obviously there are some other other medications that are nasal sprays that are prescribed, which are effective. And if your child does have asthma, or you have asthma during those pollen seasons, then it's a time to speak to your doctor and see what inhaler works best for you as a prevention.
Okay. Interesting information.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Always a pleasure to have you in. And you can always check out more information, drpaul.com.